Good afternoon. This is Math with Mr. Samuels. Today we are discussing evaluating expressions. So just like usual, you need to make sure that you have your notes so that you can follow along with the video. Just like usual, at the end of this video, you're going to go ahead and complete all the practice problems. I will post the answers in class. We will discuss any ones that we had trouble on. So evaluating expression. So what is an algebraic expression first? And an algebraic expression is an expression that contains one or more variables. Expression that contains one or more variables. Okay? So to evaluate, all we need to do is substitute the variables with their given values, then follow the order of operations. Let's recap that really quickly. Okay, so what is an algebraic expression? The expression that contains one or more variables. And to evaluate, all we need to do is substitute the variables with the given values, then follow the order of operations. So pretty essentially, what it boils down to is we're just basically doing the order of operations. Okay, nothing that we have not already done, but they're just not telling you. They're just not starting with a numerical expression. They're starting with the algebraic expression and telling you what the variables are. So let's do a couple of examples together. So as you can see, the first one, we have 7x plus 4y. And you have to remember that this 7x really means that 7 is being multiplied by x. This 4y means that 4 is being multiplied by y. Well, if you look over here, they give us the value of x and they give us the value of y. They told us that x is 5. They told us that y is negative 3. As a result, all we need to do is substitute in the variables, substitute in the numbers, the values that they gave us for each variable. So since they told us that x is 5, I'm going to go ahead and do 7 parentheses times 5. And it's the addition sign right after that. And then since y is negative 3, I'm going to go ahead and do 4 times negative 3. So now, notice that this just simply looks like an order of operation problem. So that's why we follow up with the order of operation. So we do our multiplication. And when we do our multiplication, 7 times 5 is 35. And 4 times negative 3 is going to be negative 12. Remember, a negative times a positive always equals a negative. So we have a net positive times a negative times a positive, always going to equal negative. So now we just follow our integer rules, and clearly the signs are different. So anytime they are different, we subtract. And when we subtract 12 from 35, we end up with 23. And we keep the sign of the bigger number. Well, would you rather have $12 or would you rather have $35? Clearly, we would rather have $35, and as a result, we keep the sign as positive. Let's do another one, okay? Let's do one more. Let's see, which one do I want to do? Let's do one that looks nice and pretty. Looks nice and pretty for us. So let's do this one. Let's do number 9. Okay. Number 9 says 3c squared minus cd plus 7d squared. So they told us that the value of c is negative 3 and the value of d is negative 2. So we have to first and foremost substitute in all these values. So we have 3 times c squared, and c squared is negative 3. So negative 3 to the second power. And then it says minus c times d. Well, c is negative 3. And d is negative 2. Okay? So then it says plus 7 times d squared. Well, 7 times d squared. D is negative 2. And we're raising that to the second power. Okay? So this is what you should have right here. We substituted in all of our values. Now we just have to simply follow the order of operation. So the first step in order of operation is we check to see if there are any parentheses. And yes, we do have a parentheses right here. We have a -3 times a -2. And as a result, a -3 times a -2 is going to be, well, hold on, let's look at our integer rules. A negative times a negative always equals a, you got it right, absolutely correct. Negative times a negative always equals a positive. So we're going to go ahead and simplify this down. Let me use the pen for this one. So now we end up with, let's see, 3 times 3 squared. Well, let's go ahead and do -3 squared. -3 squared means -3 times -3, and a -3 times -3 equals a 9. Okay. Okay. And then we have minus, well, the answer we got here was 6. And then we have to do this exponent as well. -2 times -2, a negative times a negative always equals a positive. So as a result, our answer there is going to be +4. So now we have 7 times 4. Okay. So this is what we end up with. And now we have to just keep simplifying. Well, we have multiplication over here. We have multiplication over here. And 3 times 9 equals 27. And we bring down our -6. And last but certainly not least, 7 times 4 is 28, sorry. Okay, so now we have 27 minus 6 plus 28. And you have to remember when we're doing our order of operation, we have to work from left to right because addition and subtraction are on the same playing field. They are equals. So as a result, we have to go ahead and start from left to right. So 27 minus 6 is going to be 21. And 21 plus 28. 21 plus 28 is going to be 49. Okay? So what I want you to do is just like we always do, is make sure that you complete all the practice problems. So that means that you're going to be doing all the ones that we did not do. So you're going to do the last 14 problems on your own. We will post the answers in class. What I want you to remember is this. Fractions are the same as what? Fractions are the same as division problems. So after we simplify the top or the numerator and we simplify the denominator, we're just going to simply divide and figure out what that new value is. Okay. Also, multiplying by a 1/4 is the same as dividing by 2. So we have to make sure that we remember multiplying by a fraction is the same thing as dividing by whatever its denominator is. In this particular case, we have 2 in the numerator, so we will have to multiply by 2 first and then divide by 9, okay? So make sure you do these problems. We're going to discuss them in class tomorrow and share the answers. This has been Math with Mr. Samuels and Ms. Brunell. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, and see you tomorrow in class.